Happy Monday, fifth graders. Today we are going to continue our work with fractions, and we are going to practice adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Last week we worked on adding mixed numbers, so today we are going to add in subtracting those mixed numbers. So what's really nice about subtracting mixed numbers is you do it the exact same way as you add mixed numbers. The only difference is you subtract instead of add. So I'm going to do one example for you here, and then you guys are going to do this same kind of work on your slides. So to start off right here, I see that I have the mixed number 7 4/6 minus the mixed number 3 2/5. Right away, I notice these are unlike fractions. They don't have the same denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I turn those into like fractions. When I turn them into like fractions, I'm putting my equal sign, and then I'm leaving space for my whole number and my new like fractions. Since I'm leaving space for my whole numbers, I'm going to go ahead and write them right away so that I don't forget them. 7 and 3. Then I'm going to work on finding those like denominators. So I count by sixes, the multiples of my 6, and then I count by 5s, the multiples of 5, to get to my least common denominator. And you can see right here, 30 is our LCD, our least common denominator. So this becomes our new denominator because we need those like fractions. And then in order to find my new numerators to make these equivalent fractions, I look and I see 6 times what gave me that 30? Well, I can come count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 times 5 got me to 30, and whatever we do to the denominator of a fraction, we have to do to the numerator of a fraction. 4 times 5 is 20. 20. We do the same thing with our other fraction. 5 times what gave me 30? That's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 times 6 got us to 30, so I do that to the numerator as well. 2 times 6 equals 12. Last week we would have added just like normal. Today we're subtracting because this is a subtraction problem. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract my whole number first. 7 minus 3 is 4. Remember, our denominator always stays the same because it's the number of pieces each was cut into. And then we subtract our numerators. 20 minus 12 is 8. And then I have to check to see if I can simplify. Remember, simplifying is trying to make this a simpler fraction to work with when we can picture in our head better. Our whole number will be staying the same, so right away I'm going to just rewrite that 4. But then in order to simplify 8/30ths, I'm going to list the factors of 8 and the factors of 30. Remember, when we list the factors, we always start with 1 and the number itself. Didn't need to move that. And then we see, is 2 a factor? Well, we always look to see if it's an even number to see if 2 is a factor. Remember that numbers that have a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 in the ones place are multiples of 2. This has an 8 in our ones place. That means 2 is a factor. If I count by 2's, 2, 4, 6, 8, it takes me 4 2's to get to 8, so 2 times 4 is 8. For 30, again, I start with 1 and the number itself, 1 and 30. Then I do the same thing where I say, look in the ones place. There's a 0 in the ones place. That means 2 is a factor. And I either need to count by 2's until I get to 30, or do 30 divided by 2 to see what it is. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So 15 and 2, if we were doing our factor rainbow, these two would match. Then I say, is 3 a factor? Well, remember, when we add the two digits together, if they equal a multiple of 3, then 3 is a factor. 3 plus 0 is 3, and 3 is a multiple of 3. And then I can just look right here and say, well, all we did was take that 3 and move it from the ones to the tens place, which means we had to have multiplied by 10. 3 times 10 is 30. Now, if I count by fours, I would say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. I never landed on 30, so 4 is not a factor. Then I say, is 5 a factor? Well, any number that has a 0 or a 5 in the ones place, that means 5 is a factor. So I put 5 right here. And if I count by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, it takes me 6 5s to get to 30. I'm all done listing my factors of 30. Then I have to find my greatest common factor, the largest one they both have. The greatest common factor between 8 and 30 is 2, which means to simplify, I am dividing both the numerator, the 8, and the denominator, the 30, by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So 7 and 4/6 minus 3 and 2/5 is 4 and 4/15. When you do your work today, you're going to have two problems like this. 2 subtracting mixed numbers, where you have to simplify. And then you're going to have from last week a review of adding mixed numbers, where you have to turn an improper fraction into a mixed number. So your mixed number is going to be even larger. Your whole number is going to be even larger than just adding these two. You're going to have two problems like that so that you get a review of turning an improper fraction into a mixed number. And then you have one review problem of finding equivalent fractions. Remember that equivalent means they have the same value. So as long as you do the same thing to the numerator and the denominator, it makes it an equivalent fraction. Then you will submit your slides on Schoology.